Pause the hoverboard chase and look at Marty's feet. The boards never actually levitate. Director Robert Zemeckis joked on the official making of special that hoverboards were real products. These are 15 hidden details you completely missed in Back to the Future Part 2. Number 15. The hoverboard chase looks like a single seamless stunt sequence from start to finish. It is 3 completely different techniques edited together. Special effects supervisor Michael Lantieri used standard skateboards with wheels kept below frame, lightweight styrofoam boards bolted to actors' feet while suspended on wires that Industrial Light and Magic digitally erased, and heavier wooden boards for close-up shots. The wire erasure was one of ILM's earliest digital wire removal jobs in a live-action film. Look at Marty's feet during ground-level shots versus the wide aerial angles. The board type and shadow change between cuts. Zemeckis fueled the illusion by claiming on the making of Special that real hoverboards existed. Rewatch the full chase knowing every floating moment is a different technique stitched into the edit. Number 14. Marty's self-lacing Nike Mag shoes look like functioning futuristic technology in every scene they appear. The prop required a battery pack concealed in Fox's costume to power the LEDs. And the self-lacing action was achieved by drilling a hole in the stage floor beneath the shoe so a crew member could pull the laces tight on cue. Electronic sound effects were added in post-production. Watch the precise moment the laces cinch. The shoe barely moves before the tightening begins, which is the stagehand pulling from below the visible frame. Nike designer Tinker Hatfield filed a real design patent based on the prop in 1989. After 30,000 fan petitions, Nike engineer Tiffany Beers developed functional power laces, and Fox received the first working pair on October 21, 2015. Number 13. The holographic Jaws 19 shark that lunges at Marty reads as a throwaway future gag. The theater marquee credits Max Spielberg as director, executive producer Steven Spielberg's actual son, who was 4 years old when the film released. Gale and Zemeckis chose Max's name so the Spielberg connection would land as a joke about Hollywood franchise excess. Look at the theater marquee just before the shark lunges. The name Max Spielberg is legible in the upper right corner during normal playback. Actress Leah Thompson, who plays Marty's mother in the film, had made her own feature debut in Jaws 3D in 1983, making the Jaws franchise a self-aware joke aimed at 2 cast members in the same frame simultaneously. Number 12. The 2015 and 1955 timeline structure feels inevitable in the finished film. It was not the original plan. Writer Gale's first solo draft set the entire third act in 1967. Not 1955. Biff would travel back to September 20th, 1967 to deliver the almanac to his younger self on the date he received $20,000 inheritance, and Marty would have needed to arrange a San Francisco hotel weekend between a younger George and Lorraine. Zemeckis rejected the concept because a fifth-decade set was cost-prohibitive and because revisiting 1955 would let the film view the first film's events from a new angle. Watch the 1955 overlap sequences knowing they exist, because Zemeckis chose budget savings over a new setting. That single call changed the shape of the entire trilogy. Number 11. The gleaming 2015 Hill Valley Square, with its hovercar traffic and holographic advertising, reads as a new futuristic world. The courthouse, clock tower, and surrounding street were all constructed on Universal's Courthouse Square backlot, the same physical structure used for both 1985 and 1955 in Part 1. Production designer Rick Carter spent approximately 2 years rebuilding over the existing structure, adding the Holomax Theater facade, the Café 80's exterior, and the pond replacing the parking lot. Look at the courthouse roofline and clock tower position in 2015, and compare it to the 1955 sequences later in the film. The underlying architecture is identical. The set was destroyed in an arson fire on November 6, 1990. Months after Part 3 wrapped, making every 2015 frame irreplaceable. Number 10. The flickering video waiters in the Café 80's appear to be generic satirical screens cycling through famous faces. The Michael Jackson simulacrum was performed by impersonator E. Casanova Evans, with Jackson's documented approval. Jackson was a fan of the original film and personally cleared his likeness for the scene. His song Beat It plays in the background of the same sequence as an additional licensed reference. Look at the large video monitors behind the counter during the Wild Gunman arcade sequence. The repeating waiter faces cycle through Jackson, Ronald Reagan, and Ayatollah Khomeini, all 3 of whom had died before the film's depicted 2015 date. The TVs also loop clips from Family Ties, Fox's actual television series. The Café is a deliberately stacked timeline of faces, not random decoration. Number 9. The McFly family dinner scene showing Marty, older Marty Jr., and Marlene together simultaneously reads as a simple split-screen trick. It required a completely new camera system. ILM engineer Bill Tondreau built the VistaGlide motion control dolly specifically for this production, the first portable computerized camera rig capable of precisely repeating a full dynamic pan, tilt, and dolly move across multiple passes. Fox was filmed first as older Marty while VistaGlide recorded every movement. He changed costume, the rig replayed the move automatically, and his prior performance was fed back through a hidden earpiece. Pause the dinner sequence and watch the camera move. It is a fully dynamic shot, not a locked-off frame, which cinematographer Dean Cumby documented in American Cinematographer magazine. Number 8. Old Biff returning the DeLorean in 2015 after changing history appears to leave an unresolved paradox. A filmed deleted scene showed Old Biff staggering out of the DeLorean and being erased from existence, implying that in the corrected timeline, Lorraine had ended her marriage to Biff around 1996. Gale confirmed the scene was cut after preview audiences were confused by the disappearance. The finished film contains no resolution. Watch Old Biff walk away through the 2015 parking structure. Nothing happens. The original ending of that moment is gone entirely. Gale also acknowledged that the sports almanac would need to be 50 times thicker to hold the results it claims. A second admitted logic gap confirmed only after the film was locked. Number 7. The clock tower hoverboard sequence looks like a clean, controlled stunt from start to finish. Stuntwoman Cheryl Wheeler-Dixon was seriously injured during filming when a rocket attached to one stunt board, last-minute changes to a breakaway glass rig, and a swinging crane setup combined into an accident requiring reconstructive surgery. The production made the decision to use footage from the compromised take rather than attempt a reshoot. Watch the clock tower crash sequence and look at the board trajectory and glass break during that specific impact. That shot is the take from the day of the accident, preserved in the finished film across decades of home video without being publicly disclosed. The production had no other footage of that moment. Number 6. George McFly appears and speaks across multiple scenes in 2015 and the alternate 1985 timeline. The man on screen is not Crispin Glover. Glover declined to return for the sequels, and the production cast actor Jeffrey Weissman then applied prosthetic appliances cast directly from molds of Glover's own face that had been made for the elderly George makeup in Part 1. Weissman hung upside down in a back brace in 2015 scenes, specifically to obscure the prosthetic seams. Look at George McFly in the 2015 garden sequence. The makeup is heaviest around the brow and cheekbones. The areas of the original Glover mold applied to a different actor. According to Hollywood Reporter, Glover filed suit in 1990 against Universal Pictures over the unauthorized replication of his likeness. Number 5. The film opens with the final scene of Part 1, Doc arriving at Marty's house, Jennifer running to the car, and the three of them launching into the future. That footage was entirely reshot. Claudia Wells, who played Jennifer in the original film, had stepped away to care for her seriously ill mother and could not return. The full opening was reshot with Elizabeth Shue as Jennifer, making the first 2 minutes a recreation of Part 1's ending with a different performer. Look at Doc's wristwatch during the takeoff and compare it to the same frame at the end of Part 1. The watch face differs, a continuity goof. Shue is unconscious for most of the film because Gale and Zemeckis built her reduced role around Wells' absence. Number 4. The Hill Valley edition of USA Today, shown in 2015, is dense with predictions including a Cubs championship, a female president, and a $6 newspaper price. The error is visible in the actual frame. When USA Today produced a real commemorative front-page wrap on October 22, 2015, replicating the prop, the spelling was corrected before publication. Pause the 2015 newspaper close-up and look at the masthead text in the upper banner. The misspelling is legible at normal resolution on Blu-ray. The prop's body text also repeats itself paragraph by paragraph because the production team only wrote new copy for plot-relevant headlines. Everything below the fold is recycled filler repeated across multiple columns. Number 3. The Café 80s interior is filled with background performers interacting with period technology and video games. A 7-year-old Elijah Wood appears as Video Game Boy Number 1, the child in the bright green hat playing the Wild Gunman cabinet alongside Marty. This is Wood's first ever film appearance, credited on screen and confirmed across production records. Look at the Wild Gunman arcade game on the right side of the Café 80s interior. Wood is the smaller child operating the controls beside Marty, in the bright green hat. His presence was not promoted at release because he had no dialogue. One of the most recognized actors of the following 2 decades appears as an uncredited background child in a throwaway moment. Number 2. Alternate Biff in 1985A, a casino owner with political ambitions and a large self-portrait behind his desk, reads as an escalated version of the existing character. Gale confirmed in a 2015 Daily Beast interview that the alternate 1985 Biff was modeled on a specific real public figure. pointing to the large portrait pose as a deliberate visual design choice. Gale also confirmed the original name. Biff Tannen referenced a Universal Studio executive who had confronted Gale and Zemeckis during an earlier project, meaning the character carried a documented grudge before any public figure resemblance. Watch Biff's first wide shot in the penthouse. The large painted portrait behind him shows Biff in the exact same pose as Biff himself in that moment. Number 1. The Weissman casting and the prosthetic face appear to be an internal production solution to a standard casting dispute. The consequences reached far beyond the film. Glover filed suit in 1990 against Universal Pictures, challenging the studio's right to recreate his likeness using molds of his own face on a different actor. The case was reportedly settled out of court. The Screen Actors Guild added clauses to its collective bargaining agreements prohibiting unauthorized mimicking or replication of a member's likeness without consent. Those protections now govern how studios use digital doubles, prosthetic likenesses, and performer-generated faces across every major production. Look at any scene featuring Weissman as George McFly. The prosthetic face is the specific visual trigger that reshaped actor likeness rights across the entire film industry. Back to the Future, Part 2, is built on illusions at every level. Hoverboards that never floated, a face belonging to a different actor, an opening reshot with a different actress, and a legal dispute that reshaped actor rights for every performer. Every rewatch reveals another layer. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?